Welcome back to another episode. And today I want to talk to you about the fear of being alone. Many of us, we don't even realize it, or sometimes we deny it, but we live with the fear of being alone. For the longest time, I didn't even know I had that fear. I remember when I met my husband, one of the qualities that I liked about him, it was that he was somebody who constantly wanted to be with me. He was calling me, texting me, always having that connection of wanted to be closer one way or another. And at that moment, I said, is this real? It's really this thing going on. It's something that it's real because I cannot believe it. I have dated other people and it was different. I felt disconnected. I did not feel like those people care about me. I felt like it was just something ordinary. But with him, it was different. It was like I knew him for a very, very long time before that moment. And the way he treated me. And I even thought to myself, this man has everything that I was looking for. But why now? Is this real? Is it really what I think it is, or maybe he just pretended? And as time progressed and we start to talk more, going out places, I noticed that he will open the door anytime I would get into the car or when we got home, things like that, like little details. And I would look at him and I would say, it's fine, I got it, I can do this. But at the same time, something inside of me was saying, this is what I always wanted. This is what I was always looking for. And at that time, I did not realize that I was looking for something that I did not have when I was a child, that deeper connection. And I was choosing from a wounded self, from something that I have still not integrated in my life, something that I was still looking for or chasing to finish this puzzle. But it was coming from pain. It was still coming from I need to be seen, I need to be held, I need company, I need somebody to be with me because I'm afraid to be alone. Because when I was younger, I was alone. So we got married, we went through the whole process. We have a lot of different frictions, problems. And as I walk in a journey of healing, I realized that I chose him from pain, pain of not being enough, of I don't want to be alone, because if I'm alone, then I'm not worth it. And if I'm not worth it, then how do I define myself? Who am I? Then it will go into this spiral mode. If I'm not enough, then I need to continue to work harder. I need to do more things. And hear me out. Many of us were there, but we don't realize it. Because the way it was showing for me, it was showing in many different ways. And I'm going to share these things with you so you can see how your life is going, and you're going to be able to identify some of those patterns in your own life. And that doesn't mean it has to be identical, but I just want to share with you so you can have a little bit more awareness of what's really happening underneath your relationships. When we got together, because he was so attentive to me, I saw that as love. Because remember, I did not have that when I was younger. So for me, it was like, this must be love. And so I remember I used to work long hours, and he didn't like that. He said, you need to work less because you need to be home early. But at the same time, he will tell me, you need to help me a little bit more. You need to maybe find another job. And so I will do those things and I will work. But then if it was time to do something by myself, it was that fear of, should I do it by myself or should I ask him? And now that was my wound, fear of being alone. My husband's wound, it was, I'm not enough. So I have to overgive in order for people to see my value. So you see how those things connected? The one that it was afraid to be alone, and the one that is, I have to give more, so they met in the middle. So we confuse that as love, when really it was pain from the past that we were trying to integrate, but we didn't know how, so we said, that must be love. So he was overgiving. So when I said, hey, I got to do something that has to do with my job where I have to travel, he will say, okay, yeah, you can travel. Let me check my calendar. Let me check my schedule so I can go with you. And I will be like, oh my gosh, he's so amazing because he wants to go with me. He want to make sure I'm not alone. I'm not by myself. He loves me so much. Because love, it was coming from womb of fear of being alone. So when somebody's telling me, I want to make sure you're not alone, oh, they must have so much love for me. So I said, okay, yeah, check your schedule and I want you to come with me. So most of the things that I did, it was with him, like close to me. I used to tell people, my husband and I were so close that even if he gets a flat tire, I will go there just to be beside him, not even helping, just to make sure we're together. And we've been so close to the point where he goes, I go, where I go, he goes. But when I start healing, it hurt. It hurt to see that I was actually hurting him and he was hurting me. What we thought it was love, it was love. But it was love is still with pain because we were not doing those actions from wholeness. We were not doing it from true love. True love that it gives without the fear of, if I don't give, then who am I? Or I must not be enough. I have to keep pushing. I have to keep doing. On the process, I realized that it was showing me this pattern many ways. And many of us were in these patterns. I was overworking. Because anytime my husband had to travel for work, I would get upset. I would get frustrated. So I would put myself into work so I don't have to feel that emotion. And many of us, we put ourselves into building a business, doing workshops, watching TV, scrolling, or maybe calling somebody when something that it doesn't feel right in our nervous system. We do these things by default and we think that's normal. And sometimes it's people that it says, no, I don't have the problem. I always do things alone because that's why I'm used to doing things alone. I don't depend upon people. I'm always used to being myself. But under that is hiding the truth. And the truth is that you are afraid to be alone. So instead of choosing somebody to be with, you said, you know what? I'm just going to train my body to endure pain. So that way I don't get used to being with somebody so it doesn't hurt. So I have to be alone because I don't want to go through the pain that other people go through from getting used to being with somebody. And that is not healing. That is not strength. That is not mean you're so great of doing things alone and you are not in fear. You're definitely in fear. Because the person who learns how to heal her wounds or his wounds is not the person that isolates themselves to say, I'm going to do this by myself. It's the person that learns how to be with people and also how to be alone on the moments that is required for that person to be alone. Even Jesus shows us that because he used to be with his disciples, with people who he teach, but then it was times where he needed to be alone, just him and the Creator. Not because he was pushing people away or because he was saying, you know what, I can't depend upon people. They're going to hurt me once they leave. No, he was doing it on awareness, on true love. The love that it says it's okay to be alone. It's okay just to be in connection with the Creator. And it's also okay to depend upon other people. It's okay to be connected to other people. Both things are okay. And they're okay when you heal yourself. In realizing that I was putting so much for me to do, so I did not have to feel the pain of my husband leaving every Monday. I remember one time that he said, I'm leaving. I'm going to be leaving on Monday and I'm coming back until Friday. And that day it was a Saturday. And I said to him, don't talk to me. Go do your thing. Go pack your stuff. And you know what? Why don't you just go now? Why don't you just go now and come back Saturday, Sunday, whenever you feel like? But that was my way of coping with my emotion in a very unhealthy way. And so we will argue about that, and I would say, you know what? You always are leaving me. You don't care. You just tell me, hey, you know what? I'm leaving, so might as well leave now. And as I went through the process of seeing really my emotions, my pain, the pain that it came from the past, I realized I was running away from feeling. In healing is not just an understanding. Healing comes when you start to feel, when you start to integrate those pieces, when you start to not just react, but really look at what is happening and make a decision that is conscious, that is really about the moment and not about the past. The first time I realized that I was running away from feeling that emotion of being abandoned, I cried. And I told him, I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I didn't realize that I was putting more pain on you. Because his wound was, I need to do more for people to love me, for people to see me. I have to overgive. Because if I don't do that, then people ignore me. People go away. People leave me. So I have to continue to give and give and give until I run on empty. So the way I was reacting towards him, it was making him feel that he had to perform more, do more, give more. Because if he didn't, then he was going to lose me. That I was going to go away. The love, it was not going to be there anymore. And one of the most painful things that I regret that I did to him, anytime we got upset, I would tell him, I want to get a divorce. And I remember the first time I told him that. He did not say anything. He was quiet. And because I was hurt too, because he was activating my own trauma from the past, as well as I was activating his trauma too. We were both in pain, so I would not talk to him for hours. And he will come to me and said, why would you say that? Why would you want to get divorced? I'm not trying to hurt you. I want to help you. But you know, it's certain things, they're out of my control. And I have to get them done. It's part of my job. It's part of the things that I have to do. And I would say, well, you need to find another job. You need to help me with other things. You always leaving me. You're always doing this. And so it was a constant thing every time he was going to go somewhere for his job. And to the point that I learned how to cope with it. I didn't really dig into. I was just reacting to what was coming up on the surface. So I started working more. I will find myself working long hours, especially if he was not going to be home. I will find a way to always be busy because I did not want it to feel that feeling, that pain of the past. I didn't want to feel it. And I said to him, I said, when we met, I like you and I love you and I fall in love with you because of all these things that you were doing for me, and you make me feel like I was safe. And now you're making me feel like you don't care. Like you just want to care about your job and not care about me, not care about your children. So you know what? I think it's better that you go your own way and I go my own way. Because in my mind, I was still looking for somebody to be there constantly with me, because the person in me, it was the child that it was looking for that protection from the masculine power. And I did not know that. So I was just lashing out on him without even understanding what was really happening to me. And when I started doing this work on me, on what was it that it was causing that, because it came to a point that it was very bad, I realized I was suffocating him and he was suffocating me, because he was giving me more and more and more. And the more that I was getting, the more suffocating I was becoming, because I was not learning to stand on my own. I was learning to be so dependent upon him that it became painful for him, because every time he wanted to go somewhere, it was like the fear, it was growing bigger. And every time that I was not close to him, his fear, it was bigger for him, because he felt that if I'm not close to him, if we're not together, then maybe she will not come back. and she will not come back because maybe she will find someone else that it gives her more than I can give her. That was his fear. But he never told me that. As well as I never told him my fear, because I was reacting to the emotions of the moment, to what I feel at the moment, not really digging into what was happening underneath. And many of us in relationships, that's how we are. We are activating the pain on our husbands or the husbands and the wives, and we don't really work on to where is this pain coming from, what is really happening underneath. And that's why we keep lashing out at each other and nothing gets resolved, and we get to the point of I want to get divorced because this is becoming so painful and unbearable. But really, the ones who are creating the pain is us, because we don't even want it to feel that pain. And by feeling the pain, it's not just because you want to be a masochist, but because feeling the pain, it will give you the information that you need to evolve, to change, to go up, to move out of that pain. But if you continue to suppress it and only treat the symptoms, the illness, it keeps eating away everything. Your energy, everything that you're building is going to collapse because you're only treating symptoms and not the illness. In that, it was what was happening to us. When I realized that, I went back and realized, oh my gosh, I choose my husband from pain. I choose my husband because I was looking for somebody who would never leave me alone. Somebody who gave me rest. Somebody who will protect me. And that is not bad. It was bad that I was choosing that from the pain, from something that I felt that it was going to fix everything. But it wasn't, because the person who needed to fix it, it was me. It was not my husband. I needed to fix it where that pain came from. And I can do the same things, but from a different energy. And I can tell you right now, when my husband is going to leave to go somewhere for work, it still activates that wound, not as it was in the past, not like that, but it gets activated. And I take a deep breath and I said, it's okay. It's okay. He can go because he's going to come back. We're going to be fine. We have other things that we can do, and we're going to enjoy life, and we're going to help him to come back more light, because he's not going to come back into chaos. He's not going to come back into fights. He's going to come back into peace. This is his place to recharge. This is the place that is waiting for him so he can be at peace, not at screaming, not at saying, if you don't do this, then I'm going to do that. So now I tell my husband, when you're going to travel somewhere, just let me know ahead of time so I can help you prepare for that travel, because I want to be present. I want to start integrating that piece, because that's where healing starts happening. Healing doesn't start because you understand something. A lot of people think that you will heal if you understand where your trauma came from. That's only part of it. True healing happens when you start to be aware and be present. At the moment that it causes the pain, you want to be in it. You're no longer running away, because you want to train your nervous system. You want to train your body that it's okay to feel that way. That whatever is happening at the moment is not the same with what it was happening in the past time. It's not the same. It's a different situation. So now when my husband is going to travel, I talk to him. I ask him what is he going to be doing, how long is it going to take to get there, who's going to be there, and I make it more something that it connect us instead of separating us, that we can connect in a deeper level. And to be honest, when I say bye, sometimes I still cry. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't go. But then I remember, no, he's not my dad. He's not somebody that needs to stay constantly with me. I'm not a child. I'm an adult. And I have my children. And I'm okay. The past, it was the past. The present is different. And it's different because now I'm making decisions from awareness. No longer from I need somebody to stay close to me. And I don't need to put myself to work so I don't have to feel this feeling. I don't need to put myself to be on social media, to call somebody, to have this other person, to have groups, to always numbing myself from the pain. No, I need to feel it. And I truly need time to be alone, because that's where the muscle grows and the trauma is released. That muscle of being alone, that it's okay to be alone, that's where it grows. And that's where the womb of the past, the trauma, it gets released. Many of us said, I don't suffer from that. I don't have that. Oh, I got so many things to do that I don't have time to be dependent upon somebody. But that is the problem. You're numbing yourself with other things so you don't have to address who you really are. You keep looking for more things to do, more people to connect with, because on the inside, truly on the inside, you're so afraid to not be enough, to be alone, to be rejected, to not be accepted for who you are. And so you're looking for so many things to do so you can feel that you are enough, that people accept you, that you are in love, that you are good. But really, you're collapsing on the inside. And it's going to come a time where those things that you're doing no longer going to work. Those things are going to collapse, because I can tell you, I used to do those things. I did them for so many years and it worked. It was working. Everything was doing amazing in my business, in my family. But then there came a time where things just started to collapse. And even though I was doing more and more and more and more, it seemed like nothing it was working. And to the point that I fall into depression. And to the point that I was losing everything. That I didn't want to even see the light again, because nothing was working anymore. But at that moment that nothing it was working, everything, it was pointing onto what it was the key to finally heal what I was not wanting to address, what I was not wanting to feel. And now I take those little moments of when I'm alone to really evaluate who I am. What am I doing? How can I show up better for myself, for the people around me? How can I love them in a healthier way? How can I show up for things that they want for themselves? Not because I'm trying to gain something from them, but because I really want to be present in their lives. And that only comes from clarity. And clarity comes from being with yourself, understanding really who you really are. Not the person from the past, not the person who's reacting from past trauma, but the person who's reacting from awareness for what is happening now. Can I be alone? Right now, ask yourself this question. If you're a business owner, ask yourself, if I lose everything, my business, the money, the employees, everything, can I still be happy? Can I still see my identity? Right now, if I don't have my kids, my husband, my business, everything is gone, and I'm completely alone, can I be okay with that? Or my identity is attached to that? Because the person that I used to be before, I was Karen the wife, Karen the mom, Karen the business owner. But I was never just Karen, the woman, the child of God. I never see myself like that. And so our priority should be to know who we are first. Because I heard this on a podcast. If you don't know truly who you are, the world will tell you who you are. And the world will tell you to work on someone else's dreams. But when you know who you are, truly who you are, you will tell the world who you are, and you will work on your own dreams, on your own desires. Nobody, no voices from the outside, they will come and tell you who you are and where do you need to start working on. Because by knowing who you are, you will decide what is your priorities. And that is so important because many of us, we think that we know who we are and that we're working on our priorities. But many of us were working on the outside, on the business, on getting money, on getting clients, having connections. But the inside is collapsing. And the inside, if it's not well taken care of, it doesn't matter how much you have on the outside. When the inside collapses, everything else comes down. It's like the story in the Bible that it says the man who built his house on sand. The wind will blow and collapse everything. But the man who can build his house on rock, no, it doesn't matter how much wind it will come, the house will stay. And that's where we need to realize that we need to heal ourselves. We need to really look at why is this person activating me the way it is? Because it's something in me that I have not recognized, that I have not integrated, that I have not forgiven, that I have not stopped looking for. Even though right now it's not the season for me to looking for those things, but for me to recognize it, acknowledge it, forgive that person, and let it go and start building on the rock. And the rock is where your house will stay stable and you don't have to worry about so much of the things on the outside, because if you are built so well on the inside, everything else that is outside, it will be added. The Bible says that. The Bible says that if we put God first, everything else will be added. And putting God first is working on ourselves. Am I really reacting from God's love? Am I really searching for God's love on my husband or on another relationship? Or I'm looking for love that it comes from pain. I'm looking for the love that I imagined this is how it was going to be. Or am I really loving people from the love that God is teaching me? You have to ask yourself that question. I promise that when you start looking into those things, you will see how many things in your life they cannot change to be different because you were making the same actions. When I saw that in my own life, I said, well, no wonder why this happened. No wonder why my child reacted this way. No wonder why my husband was doing this, because I was doing A, B, C, and D. No wonder why my life it was upside down. I was turning it upside down, not because God wanted my life like that, but because unconsciously I was doing that. I was sabotaging myself. And now with my clients that I have, many of them they said, "My husband is doing this to me. My husband is doing that to me." And when we work on their trauma, it's not the husband, it's her. And the husband is just reacts from his womb because she's activating the womb. And some women said, "I don't know. I think about getting divorced. Do you think I should get divorced?" I said, "What I think is you should work on yourself first. And when that time comes where you need to make a decision, you will see that you will have more clarity on whether you need to uh, get divorced, or sometimes God will even remove the person that it was not supposed to be in your life anymore. He will remove it. You will not even have to do anything. Because I know when I start doing this work, it happened for me. I did not have to push people away. Automatically, things it was happening where people were walking away and new people were coming in. Because when you change your energy, everything starts to change. And so that's why I tell the people that I coach, you don't have to be so concerned about your business. You have to work on yourself. And when you work on yourself, everything else will come. I promise you. And that's why when I hear people saying, "Well, I need to learn more about business." Well, you can keep learning more and more and more. But at the end of the day, you're going to fall into the same hole that you don't want to cover up. You're going to keep going there. It's up to you to say, "I want to keep going the way I'm going and making the same mistakes and getting the same pain or even more pain, or I want to stop. I really don't like this, but I'm going to go in it, feel the pain, and transform the pain. And now find healing and really put my life where it needs to be." It's up to you. It's your decision. I always tell people, don't go into the process of my coaching because I'm saying that this is what's happening to me and that's how I heal. But go in it because you are done. You are done with your past. You really want to change your life, not just for you, but for your family, for your children. You don't want them to continue to repeat the same patterns. At the end of the day, whatever you invest in the coaching, you're not investing it on me. You're investing that money on you. And when you said, "I don't want to invest on me right now," that's the reason why you are in the place you are, because you believe that everyone else deserves the investment except you. You believe that you are not worth it. And until that doesn't change, nothing in your life is going to change. You will continue to be in pain after pain, frustration after frustration, more stress every day because you believe that the key is outside when you don't even realize that you are the one that is holding the key. And until you not wanting to fix that, pain is going to be your best friend. I hope this helped you, and I will see you on the next episode. Yellow diamonds.